running up the score.
Jerry Napoleonello.
This team has been on the clock for 4 months now. Why are we taking this down to the 4-minute mark? You know, you have 10 minutes here. 10 minutes here, but you've had 4 months. The dude's got 1,021 text messages that he hasn't read yet. Did we not notice that?
Kevin Donlin.
Bryce Harper's a great player. He's very, very talented. Aside from last year, but I blame myself. I'm pretty sure I'm the reason for that with fantasy baseball.
That's disgusting.
Wow.
I can't believe that's real. I mean, again, I'm not. I shouldn't hate. I'm not going to be the kind of person that hates.
No,
He is doing enough hating for the both of us.
As a Cowboys fan, the expectations are so high, and it's just, you're dug into the ground by the end of the season.
You're basically like what the Patriots are, but like you try to do it, but you just don't.
No.
Yeah. At least the Jets, you know what I mean? They have excuses.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
Now the talk is the CBA, and now the NFL, the owners, have agreed on this proposal.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL Players Association has agreed on this proposal. So now it goes up to the players. So each player gets to vote.
Mm-hmm.
They have to, for this to be passed, it has to be 2/3 voting yes.
And it's going to pass.
That I don't know. It sounds like that's what's going to happen, but then you hear more and more players say they're not voting for it, like J.J. Watt, like big players,
Yeah.
Richard Sherman.
There aren't enough of them.
No,
That's the problem.
Yeah, I guess.
And honestly, the new CBA, and I know you got this, list right here of all the different details that go along with it. I don't even need to read any of this. It's a long story short, and I'll tell you right now, this new CBA is not beneficial to players that signed humongous deals.
No, and that's where it comes down to.
And unfortunately for them, there are very few of those.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of players out there, like we've talked about, that grind and try to make those NFL rosters and are on the edge every time. Those players are very open to it.
Absolutely.
Because it means more money for them, practice squad players.
There's more practice squad players.
And it's more money per...
And that's the other thing. The reason why this is going down so quickly is because the NFL and their TV rights are coming down to the end, and they need to sign a contract. So if the NFL can put this proposal out to the TV rights and say, hey, listen, we're going to give you one more game now. Now it's going to be 17 games, 18 weeks, 17 games. You're going to tell me that TV channels aren't going to jump all over that? And I can guarantee you, like I heard it on the radio, I would not be surprised if a Super Bowl ends up on ESPN. ESPN likes to throw their money around, especially the ones that they don't have. But, just the TV rights are the biggest portion of this. And that has nothing to do with the CBA. It's just that underlying, the owners feel like, all right, well, we got to get a move on here. Because this CBA, they have another season before they even have to sign this. So the NFL owners, there's a reason why they're trying to hurry up with this. And it's mainly because of the TV rights. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of things, the players will be getting a 48.5 revenue stake in the league. So that's another, there's a bunch of things that
I think it works out with the big time contracts as if, I think there's a discount on the 17th game check for that.
Yes.
And unfortunately,
you can't make more than $250,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's something stupid.
And what happens is those players, those big time players, they're not approved of it. But unfortunately, there just isn't enough of them. There's a lot of all-stars and a lot of names on all your teams back at home, and every week you're able to see certain guys, but there are a lot of guys out there that are not big names, and unfortunately, we all have a responsibility to take care of families and along the lines of that, and this is just a great proposal for players like that, and unfortunately, there's a lot more of those kind of players than there are big-time all-stars and Pro Bowlers. So there's I'd be genuinely shocked if this proposal were to get voted to a no. And there are a lot of players out there, just like you said, a lot of players that are against it. There are plenty of players out there that are absolutely for it.
Well, I mean, another thing is like the training camp. Introduction of a 5-day accumulation. I don't even know what that word is. Period. 2.5 hour limit on padded and full speed practices. Limit time at facility during a given workday. Limit of 16 days in pads. No more than 3 consecutive days for three out of the 5 weeks. No more than 2 consecutive days for 2 out of the 5 weeks. 3-day weekend at the end of the camp if 17 games is implemented. 2 days off in the first week. 1 day every 7 thereafter. Limit of 4 joint practices if 3 preseason games. So there's a lot of things, when it comes to time between football and the outside life, I guess you could say. So that's another thing that, is for the players. I haven't really read into all of, everything that with the CBA. I've just kind of been reading here and there. So, it's going to be interesting because it's going to be one bye for the playoff teams in each conference. So instead of having the 2 byes in each conference, now it's just going to be 1 bye. They're adding a team to the playoffs on each conference. So that's another thing.
Well, finally, Dallas will have a chance to make the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Wow. Coming from a Jets fan. It's like a Knicks fan saying something like that.
Well, we compare the Jets with the New York Knicks, all right? We find ways to get better, all right? The Knicks aren't going to find a way to get better for years.
No, I think the Jets are going to be pretty decent this year.
I'm already hearing big-time names coming their way.
Well, I mean, Jack Conklin is that would be a nice
That's a big time
pickup.
name. Yeah, that's a big offensive lineman.
Yeah.
We like those.
Yeah.
Those guys are the most important part. They're the trenches. We've talked about it.
Trust me, I'm a Dallas Cowboys
Broken.
fan. I know.
Yeah, you know about the big old lines and what it does for a team. It gets you a 7-9 record.
Okay.
Folks, we're gonna fight as soon as this goes off the air. There'll be a fight going on.
For more Running Up the Score, go follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at RUTS Sports.